Hey, welcome back. So today I'm gonna be running the backtest live with you. Then I'm gonna be showing how this project works, as well as showing the real performance, the actual performance, as well as any relevant information you need to know. So the project is live actually. We've been developing it for the last 4 years. But initially was a crypto predictor project, which means we were essentially predicting the price of crypto over the next 1 hour or on an hourly basis. But then again, we were able to add more information, more logic, so that it now supports crypto pattern detection, and we've got a total of 37 symbols. And that is essentially what our main focus is as of now. So the project is hosted on our Google servers. So we are running on 8 GB RAM, and we have to make sure that we are running on a zone that is supported by Binance. So for example, you can run your crypto project on Binance servers, because if you're going to maybe use zones which are hosted on the UK, because that is not supported by Binance, it's actually blocked in the UK, in Germany, and some of the few nations in Europe. So if you're going to run it on the US servers, then you have to make sure that you're fetching the data from Binance.us specifically. So running this project, the backtest. So we are running a 1-month backtest, starting from the 1st of May all the way to the end of June, and then we are going to save the report. So we have some few configurations, because this is a full-blown project which also has some few settings. So this means that you can set your strategies. You can do a few settings to your strategies. For example, in this case, you can choose to go with an aggressive strategy, a balanced strategy, or whatever whatever your core purpose is. So for example, in my strategy, I have activated a total of 27 patterns. I have disabled dodge pattern because it is a neutral signal, and this won't make sense to us. It will be like more of guesswork, because a dodge is a neutral signal. So we also have the pattern specific confidence. We are setting it to 60%. You can set it higher to maybe 65 or 70 or maybe 50 if you want to have access to more signals. And then we are risking 1%, and we are setting the maximum number of trades to 3. This means that at any given point, you can't have more than 3 trades running simultaneously. So we're just going to ensure that we are only going to allow 3 trades at any given time. So this is going to be filtered by the number of by the score of by the confidence score. So for example, if you have like four trades or maybe 5 signals that have been detected by this detector, then we're going to just select the top 3 signals with the highest confidence score. So the stop loss type is pattern based, and the stop value, this is essentially the same as the maximum risk per trade. And we're also saying that the take profit value is 2%. So we are risking 1% for 2% profits. And then we also have this filter here, as well as the volume and the percentile filter. So this helps us mostly with what is known as leverage, but that is for experienced traders. So we can actually activate all of this if you want to. If you don't want to have these filters, you can actually deactivate them. But then that means you're going to risk having inaccurate signals. So we'll have the machine learning predictions. This means that our machine learning predictions are predicting whether it's going to rise or to fall. So we are essentially saying that if you set this one to arise, if you're going to set this one to be used in this particular case, this means that if the prediction is a rise in a certain crypto, and then you have detected a specific pattern, whether it's bearish or bullish, this means that if it has to have the agreement, in the sense that if it is going to rise, then you have to make sure that this is a bullish pattern. And if it's going to, if the prediction shows that it's going to fail, then that is going to be a bearish pattern. So you can also specifically add this one here if you want to. You can also set the time frames. You can say it's over 1 hour, 3 hours, 1 day, and so on and so forth. So depending on whatever you want to set in your specific strategy, I chose 1 hour because I noticed that 1 hour is actually giving more profits than others. So these are the data that I return when we run the predictions, when we run the backtests, and so on and so forth. So running this specifically takes around 40 minutes when I'm running on Python alone, but if I'm running on C++, it will take me around 3 minutes. So this one began at this point, and then we had around 40 minutes of running. So this is how we run the backtest. We run it on we run it on, trying to look at the logs, on 17th of June. And as you can see, we have disabled one pattern here, and then we have these filters here. The machine learning is false as well. So we run all these all the way to every single crypto coin. We have a total of around 37 or 36 crypto coin pairs, and then all the way to the end here. And so our last coin is Dash, and we had around 451 trades, and the winning trades were, total rates were 369. So the winning trades were 144, and the losing trades were 225. So the average win is this one, and the average loss is this one. So this is actually a good profit factor, as you can see. And the maximum drawdown, as long as it's less than 20%, then it makes a lot of sense to be that way. So I have the Sortino ratio, the Sharpe ratio, and the maximum consecutive wins and losses. So you can still go ahead and look at the individual performance score of those patterns, and you can actually deactivate some if you find out that they are not actually performing very well. For example, you can see that threes, white soldiers, had a win rate of 0, piercing had a win rate of 0, triangle deciding again a 0. So you can actually deactivate these ones, but that would lead to what is known as overfitting in trading. This means that you are actually working with a strategy that only worked with your backtest. So we didn't want to maybe try to limit our strategy. We just want it to be natural. But now our core concern is that we need to have the filters ready. For example, the RSI, we can't compromise on that one. And the other point is that we are very strategic about this one, because we are only risking 1% for a 2% profit. So yes, it's underperforming. Of course, it's making profits, but the reason it's underperforming is because I had set this one to look at around 70% for it to qualify as a performing strategy. So if it's over 50%, you would see something like strategy needs improvement, and so on and so forth. So currently we are actually running it on Python. We have the C++ logic, but I figured it out that it wasn't actually very accurate. Of course, the project has been running on Python for almost 70% of the time. So we only added C++ lately, and the reason for that was to help us to maybe preserve some of the computing power in our server, because Python is RAM hungry, and especially if you're running the background using RabbitMQ and Celery, is going to take you so much RAM for it to be successful. So as you can see, we have a few tasks running on the background, or what is known as cron jobs. So they run every specific hour to fetch the coin price, and also update us so that whenever we are making all those predictions, or maybe the detection, we are using the latest data. So it's around 16 minutes to 5 p.m. So we've got the 4 p.m. data here, and we also have the predictions. As I said, this is going to run every single hour, so we expect to have the 5 p.m. predictions here. So as I said, we are running on batches. So we are running the first, I think, 16 crypto coins, and then another 16. But now Python is a little bit slow, and we found out that it's actually having a lot of challenges whenever it's like running the predictions. It can't actually complete all the predictions in time. So you can find that it's just running like the 16 batch fast, the first batch fast, and then before it runs the second batch, it's actually 1 hour is passed. So so we're also looking at this one. As I said, with the machine learning agreement, means that we're looking at the if our predictions shows that we are having like this one seems to be a positive return, so this might be a bullish pattern. So if we are looking at the detected patterns and the signals as well, if it's going to be a bullish and this one has been noted, for example, the hammer pattern, and this one is forced to agree with this one. So if the prediction shows that it's going to be a negative, and then the detected signal pattern is a hammer, which is of course a bullish pattern, is going to be excluded. But now deactivating the machine learning agreement, this means that it's going to pass regardless of whether it's going to be bullish or not. So this is the specific strategy that we're running on our live project. So it had around 369 trades last month. So it's just the backtest itself, and it's exactly what is activated. So as you can see from this point, it's offset as active here. It's actually visible from this point. It's active. So this is the strategy that is active, and it's running every 1 hour to detect the patterns. So far we have these signals that have been detected, and every specific time they are detected, you can see the entry price, the exit price, and whether it's a stop loss, it's a target hit, or maybe invalidated. So depending on the settings of their strategy, we are checking whether all those settings have been achieved, and we are only activating a pattern if it qualifies, depending on the set principles of that strategy. So for example, this one had a confidence score of these ones and these ones, but the filters themselves is what we are checking mostly, the RSI filter as well, and we can see the entry price and the target price and the stop loss price and the exit price. So this can also be seen easily from our dashboard here. So you can see the for example, if I click on, maybe this is an active pattern here, so this doesn't make a lot of sense as of now. For example, if I look at this one, which was a loss, we had let me take a look at this point. So we had an entry at 2.3 and an exit at target of 2.40. So this is going to be a bullish pattern, and this was SCP. This was a hammer. So unfortunately, it was a loss, and we had set our stop loss at 2.31, which is a 1%, and then the exit price was activated. So the entry lag was 1 minute 51 seconds, and the exit lag was 20 seconds. So the core logic of using C++ was to be able to see if we can fix these ones. But again, as I said, it was very, very difficult to work with C++ because it's actually not very accurate compared to Python. It's actually very true that you use Python for what is known as maybe piloting your project, looking at maybe testing quickly, but now you offload the logic back to C++ for the quick setup itself. And because C++ is a low-level language, so it helps you with this what is known as quantitative trading faster. So for example, if C++ was used, we could expect this one to be a little bit maybe in seconds, and this one's in maybe under 5 seconds, and so on and so forth. But then again, it also depends with where you've hosted your server. So mine is hosted in Zurich, which is in Switzerland, and that is too far away from Tokyo, where the Binance servers are hosted. So this is just a breakdown of the backtest itself. You can maybe investigate it. So here, this helps you to understand which patterns score better in using this strategy. And you can, as I said, you can actually choose to deactivate those less performant patterns. So for example, Hammer had a loss here, and it has given us a loss here again in our signals, but that doesn't concern us as long as we are aiming for profits. So again, as I said, you can also the confidence score, you can actually set it to over 65 or maybe over 70 or over 80, but it's going to be limited. You're now going to have limited trades, but now you're aiming for the maximum confidence. So yeah, so that is essentially how we are doing this one. So we also have the macro data. We're fetching the macro data as well, and all these are distributed depending on the weight they are participating in our predictions, in our detections. So as I said, I had to deactivate what is known as hyperparameter tuning because of my server. So that takes a lot of RAM and a lot of memory, a lot of CPU. So I had to deactivate that, unfortunately. And once that is activated, it actually gives much higher accuracy. So we're using a total of at least four models. We have the light GBM, we have the XG boost, random forest, simple random forest, and so on and so forth. So that is essentially what is going on in this project. So every single time you have a signal listed on our Facebook or maybe on our Telegram, it's actually running all that process. It's actually very complex. The process that is running on the background is actually very complicated, and so our goal is to make sure that we run it and give the most accurate signals out there. So for now, everything is free. You can actually create an account if you want to. You can also, we also have a mobile app in production, but we haven't had it going on. We haven't deployed it so far. But this was just to give you a brief view of what is going on in our scalp bot, and looking forward to testing our system. Bye.